Wood has always been a part of the story of human existence, a relationship that began with the need for shelter, as early humans leaned on wood to build durable homes. As time passed, wood has also been used for fuel, furniture, paper, weapons, and more. However, as human populations expanded, the rate at which wood is exploited today has become unsustainable. According to forest data website Global Forest Watch, the top 5 states in Nigeria responsible for 54% of all tree cover loss between 2001 and 2022 are Edo, Cross River, Ondo, Taraba, and Ogun. One place where this is happening in Ogun State is the Omo Forest Reserve. Logging activities have reached extreme levels, damaging the health of the forest and making life tough for wildlife that call this place home.
You can reflect on how the forest was 10 years ago and how it is at this present moment. We see that there's a big difference. If you go around the forest reserve now, you will see that there are some areas that are opened, gaps, which are basically caused by logging activities.
Nigeria's deforestation rates of 3.5% annually is one of the highest in the world. This alarming trend is contributing to increasing carbon emissions.
An untouched forest will stock carbon, but logging somehow, even if it's selective, it leads to tree felling and therefore greenhouse gas emissions. Logging often creates conditions for other types of land uses that are that leads to stronger levels of greenhouse gas emissions in the forest, such as small-scale agriculture, energy access.
Deforestation refers to forests being converted for non-forest uses such as agricultural practices. And forest degradation is when forests lose their capacity to provide to people and nature, both of which are evident in Omo. And this rapid loss of trees poses a significant threat, not only to the forest's health, but also to the overall welfare of the millions of individuals relying on it for water and survival. Dr. Joseph Onoja, the Director General of the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, emphasizes the urgency of the situation.
It is instructive to note that the Omo Forest Reserve is one of the very important watersheds of the Lagos Lagoon. And the integrity of that Omo Forest is very important for the ecological, the social, and the well-being of Lagos State as a whole. Because if Lagos State, being a coastal town, is being protected by Omo Forest Reserve, so it's important that whatever happens to Omo Forest Reserve catches the attention of people downstream. If the integrity of the Omo Forest Reserve is destroyed, it will have a reverberating effect on the Lagoon of Lagos.
A large portion of the Omo Forest Reserve falls within the state government's concessional logging zone, where permits are granted and logging is allowed. Mr. Timothy Olatunji, the Permanent Secretary of the Ogun State Ministry of Forestry, says that it is incorrect to say that the Omo Forest Reserve has been deforested.
When you are talking about deforestation, it involves the change in the land use plan of a gazetted forest land for that purpose. And that has not been done. We have not converted Omo Forest Reserve for another use. It's still a forest. The logging has been going on for long. But we have two areas there. We have the conservation area, which is 65,000 hectares. We also have the operational area, which is 71,906 hectares. Logging only takes place in the operational area, not in the conservation area. It's well managed and also well controlled to ensure that we don't have fraudulent practices and illegal logging taking place in Omo Forest Reserve.
Researcher Dr. Zach Michelia studied forest loss and degradation in the Omo Forest.
People are concerned about deforestation, but what I saw in Omo is more of degradation. Logging activities that should be selective, but is no longer selective. That should be done in a way to ensure that everything is in order, but it's not done that way. And if you look at it from the aerial view, you don't really notice that level of degradation until you actually get into the forest. Because the degradation has to do with removing these logs, these trees that have a large diameter, that has the capacity to sink carbon. But due to the degradation level, the capacity of that forest to sink carbon is reducing daily.
The timber trade in Nigeria, including Ogun State, provides employment opportunities, stimulates growth in related industries, and generates revenue through taxation and exports. However, sustainable practices must be prioritized to ensure the long-term viability of the industry. And according to the Nigerian Conservation Foundation, concessional logging is not properly managed.
I don't believe that the concession is being followed the way it should. So whether the logging is an issue or not, it is a serious issue, both the illegal logging and the legal logging, because the legal logging kind of encroaches into the protected area. They need to know the staff who are involved in it, because some people go under the umbrella of the concessionaires to be carrying out illegal activities, to ensure that the revenue that is accruing to the state really gets to the state and not just being pilfered by a few individuals into their private pockets.
Unfortunately, illegal loggers often encroach on the forest at night, making it challenging for rangers to effectively address the problem.
And end of the day náà wọ́n gba bribe náà ní tán filẹ̀ kò dẹ̀ sí nǹkan tá fẹ́ ṣe.
According to the state's Ministry of Forestry, there are 150 forest guards within the Omo Reserve. However, within the conservation area, the NCF says that there are just 20 to 30 forest guards, and arming the rangers is a complex process.
Arming them will require going through a lot of hurdles, because even the national park rangers have just been given the license to bear arms. So other rangers don't have that license yet. Forest areas are becoming areas of security concern as well, and that's where there needs to be a synergy between not just the park rangers but also the military formations and paramilitary, so that we'll be able to protect the space.
Another pressing issue within the Omo Forest Reserve is the clearing of trees, particularly for cocoa farming.
Illegal farming is also part of the major threats we are faced with in Omo here. People want to look for where they can start their agricultural activities, so they will open up that area. They will, clear the trees, burn it, prepare their agricultural, whatever they want to plant.
While there are laws that should protect the Omo Forest and its wildlife, the effectiveness and enforcement of these measures are questionable.
We still recently reviewed its forestry and wildlife laws. And these are laws that this was supposed to be signed into law by the administration before last, and they were supposed to review it to ensure that it is signed into law to make it very current. But as it is, that it has not been concluded yet. If it can, 50% of that can be implemented, it will go a long way to be able to protect the Omo Forest Reserve.
In the face of widespread logging activities, the Ogun State Ministry of Forestry claims that part of the agreement in place with corporate loggers is that you must replant trees.
Between 2008, the Omo Woods has planted 3,100 hectares. Between 2004 and 2019, the ministry has been able to plant trees covering 4,578 hectares, 0.3 hectares. In 2023, in Omo Forest Reserve alone, we planted over 354,000 trees there. So when you sum up the total of all this we have said, you can see we are close to 1 million alone in Omo Forest Reserve.
However, Dr. Mashilia says even reforestation is not properly managed.
The unfortunate thing we see here is that the old trees in the constitutional zone are cut off, the young ones are cut off, and the replacement is not taking place. Also over a tree, if you cut down one, you should be able to replant like maybe 5 because it's a function of how many is going to survive. So, but that is not really happening because there is no proper enforcement. One of the danger we are heading in Omo is that we are going to a position where we're going to lose almost the indigenous trees, and we cannot be able to even get fruits from those trees that we can be able to talk about reforestation.
Reforestation is vital for restoring forest ecosystems, mitigating climate change, preventing soil erosion, and providing crucial habitats for diverse plant and animal species. The removal of trees and destruction of forests disrupt habitats, impede wildlife movement, and increase human-wildlife conflict. Endangered species like elephants are particularly at risk from habitat destruction during logging activities.
Elephants is the logo of First Bank. Elephant is the logo of the Nigerian police. Elephant is the logo of Lafarge. So I'm calling them out so they will know that their logo is going into extinction and they need to do something. They need to step up to be able to protect their logo.
The Omo Forest Reserve and the wildlife that lived there could be wiped out if nothing changes in the near future. It appears crucial to implement proper management practices, including sustainable harvesting limits, the protection of conservation areas, and active community involvement in order to mitigate the risks. Laila Johnson-Salami, Arise News.